Oh, I knew looking at the camera. Is that where I'm? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm here, bro.
You good now?
Yeah,
You sure?
yeah, let's get it, bro.
All right. You ready? You ready for this?
Hello, audience.
Couch Potato GM back with another video, and we are recapping the Sunday night football game from Week 3 between the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. I am CPGM Juice, joined by CPGM Drew. And Drew, let's jump right into it. And what were your thoughts? What were your major takeaways from this particular contest? We had previously recapped the Saints versus the Raiders. The Saints came up a bit short in that contest, and once again they're on the losing end. So what is it that you saw?
So we know Michael Thomas wasn't playing. So let me ask you a question before I jump into it.
Sure.
Just thinking about the game and thinking about the Saints in general. I know they got Drew Brees. There's Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, soon to be, whatever. They're missing Michael Thomas. But if Kamara's not there, what are they offensively?
I don't know. Taysom Hill.
That's exactly what I mean. So it was the Kamara show out there for the Saints. It was the Alan Lazard and the Aaron Rodgers show out there for the Pack. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Aaron Jones is out there, and is he a top 5 back?
I need to think about it, but probably. Okay. He probably is in the conversation. Yeah. Sorry. Top 10 for sure.
Oh, top 10. No, top 10. Yeah.
Sure.
That's why I said top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to think about it. You can't just hit me. Can't just throw that out there. Ad lib. No, I got to think about it.
No, just thinking about this game. The Saints with the defense, the penalties. It's just rinse and repeat from last week, from the week before. And I don't understand. They don't have a Davante Adams. It's kind of just Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. That didn't look like they could really. They was kind of struggling to stop the run. Is Cam Jordan still on that team, bro? Is he on the back of a milk carton?
Come on, man.
Because I think he's got 4 tackles, if I'm not mistaken, with 2 penalties, bro. I just want to stick that out there. But going into this game, I didn't really think that the game would be too close. I thought the Packers would kind of take it to them. But the Packers can't stop the run. It was one guy they needed to stop and they couldn't do it. Whether he caught it out the backfield, whether he caught a pass out in the open field, whether the ball was handed off to him, they couldn't stop, the Saints in the run game. And he kept them in the game. If it's not for Kamara, I don't, this game might have got away from the Saints.
No, it's a great point that you make, and just to kind of take that a step further, I thought the Saints, Sean Payton in particular, should have run the ball more. The Green Bay's issues in terms of stopping the run dates back to last season. They really struggled. They were able to get after the passer with the Smith brothers. They got some young defensive backs that make plays, but they've demonstrated now, obviously with the 2019 season and certainly early in this particular season, that they're having trouble stopping the run, and they got away from it. It didn't matter. It could have been a Kamara. It could have been Latavius Murray. It didn't matter. Both backs were getting chunk yardage. We were running at a very good clip, and they just did not run it enough. I thought that, sometimes you got to help your defense out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And the physicality of the running game, the success that you were having in the running game, maybe you take one more possession away from Green Bay. You know what I mean? Because of the time that churns off of that clock and so on. I thought Sean Payton, and it happens with really creative, good play callers. They tend to get a little pass happy sometimes. Of course, he likes to tinker with his Taysom Hill. Unfortunately, there was a turnover, a fumble lost. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes less is more. You know what I mean? And in this case, I would have liked to see less of Drew Brees per se, particularly without Michael Thomas, and more of Kamara and Latavius Murray. As far as Green Bay is concerned, you're right. As a lot of people, a lot of media pundits are calling it, this is the scorched earth tour, right, for Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? After the whole Jordan Love situation and this, that, and the other, and Rodgers looks great. You know what I'm saying? And I thought Alan Lazard flashed last year, and he's really starting to take a step. filling in for Davante Adams. That's the thing there. Green Bay wasn't tremendous in terms of their ability to run the football, but they still got it done on the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of guys making plays, I thought, Mercedes Lewis made a hell of a play for a TD grab. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys are stepping up. Guys are stepping up. They have to clean up their run defense, but the offense seems to be sharper this year. It appears that, there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not Aaron Rodgers has truly acquiesced to the offense and this, that, and the other. It could be a little bit of both. I think whatever it is, head coach and quarterback have found a middle ground, and they are sticking with the run game. Even though the run game may not be, getting 6-7 yards a carry, 3.5, 4.5 is plenty good to keep defenses honest, to keep the play action pass viable. You know what I mean? And again, just as I mentioned with New Orleans, I thought in certain instances less was more. That is what Green Bay has adapted. You know what I mean? Rodgers threw fewer passes than Drew Brees last night. Yeah. The Green Bay Packers did not run the ball as effectively as the Saints last night. But you mentioned those penalties and the fact that there's a lot of individual greatness that's necessary in order for New Orleans to really move the football. You mentioned it with Kamara. Without Kamara's performance, which was amazing, they're not in that game. You know what I mean? Because number one, they're not running the football enough, and number two, Drew Brees is not pushing the football downfield. He's not.
Yeah, there was I was listening to a couple podcasts and just looking into some numbers, man, and like they was talking about the spread chart in terms of Drew Brees throwing or just talking about just different quarterbacks, how they kind of spread it around the field. It's all over the field. It's 20 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field, 8, 5, 4. But Drew Brees is like within this 7-yard range where it's just not. And so teams have figured it out. Hey, don't drop no further back than 7 yards. No. Safeties don't need to go any further back. And this isn't Russell Wilson that's going to throw it down the field. It's none of that. It's right in this little area right here. And he makes things – it's so simple. You know what I mean? And for Sean Payton to be this offensive guru, this guy, it's just like, is it Drew Brees just not wanting to throw the ball down the field? Is it Sean Payton saying, hey, I'm just going to work within, his comfort zone? Like, there's so much meat left on the bone within that offense. I know it, but you're without, Michael Thomas, but hey, man, make teams, come up out of that. You know what I mean? You're making it harder for you to run the football, although they could run the football yesterday, but you're making it harder for you to run the football. If they know there's no Michael Thomas and it's just Alvin Kamara, you playing a better defense, what happens? You know what I mean?
Sure. It'll be interesting. I think you bring up a good point, and we probably need to explore that a little bit more, take a look at the all-22 and see what's going on with Drew Brees. Is the big play, is the chunk play there, and he's not pulling the trigger? I think that's something that we really need to examine and get a little bit deeper in. Because if that's the case, it's not as if Drew Brees isn't seeing it. I find it hard to believe if it's drawn up a certain way and it's there. I don't think it's Drew Brees just missing it. Considering his experience, considering the level that he's played at throughout his career, I think it's, confidence in terms of being able to push the football down the field. Again, I'm speculating, but I think that's a good idea for us to take a look at the all-22 and really explore that, because you're right. The safeties, the corners, they're sitting on everything. And here's the thing that I was thinking about before we even began this video was, when Michael Thomas comes back, does that back anybody up? No.
No,
not necessarily. Now, you might be more efficient at what you're doing there, in that short to intermediate parts of the field because of his ability to make those contested grabs, right? But I don't think you're going to become exponentially more explosive or threaten defenses over the top if the trigger man isn't pulling the trigger, or guys aren't on the perimeter, aren't being able to successfully create separation down the field. So no, I think that's a great point, and I'm interested to see what the all-22 shows us with respect to that.
Definitely.
Coming into this season, I really was high. I was really, really high on the Saints defense. And, of course, considering everything that's going on in the world, pandemic, they don't necessarily have that crowd behind them at home. But I still think that at every level of this defense, you have really talented football players. You mentioned Cam Jordan. They need to get Marcus Davenport healthy. Trey Hendrickson, Sheldon Rankins. You got Demario Davis at the second level. We're not going to talk about the guy with the blonde hair, Gator. And you got some good corners, you got some good safeties. I mean, this is, on paper, this is a really good defense, but I haven't seen excellent play from them either. So in your estimation, what's going on with that defense?
Right. I don't know. Like when you think about, you think about an offense, you think about the defense, you start running through the players, the position, and you're thinking about, okay, well, what can they do? What have they been capable of doing? And in the past years, they've been able to rush the passer, right? And they've been stopped up the middle, being able to stop the run, but for some reason, I know the penalties are a huge part of their problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Malcolm Jenkins on the back, like, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the maybe it's the amount of possessions that they have to defend. Like there's times when they'll get the stop on third down.
You're right.
Here comes the penalty, something stupid. Like it might just be the penalties, bro.
And when you have penalties like that, everybody assumes it's just undisciplined. Where's your head at, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times it's born out of technique. You know what I'm saying? And you make a point there. If you go back to that Monday night game against the Raiders, they were questioning Malcolm Jenkins. You know what I'm saying, in terms of all the work that Darren Waller was giving them, and of course, again, the tight end position seems to be giving the Saints a lot of trouble defensively. Mm-hmm. Tanyan as well as Mercedes Lewis caught TD passes in this game, so that's something to look at, something that needs to be monitored moving forward. But it could be diminishing skill set there on the back end. I love Jackrabbit, but Jackrabbit's not locked down. Jackrabbit can make plays on the football. He's still a solid corner, but he's not locked down. I'm not seeing, next level play from Marshawn Lattimore. I'm seeing solid play, but not necessarily next level play, what we were kind of anticipating from him. So, yeah, there's some guys that are really underachieving. And in some instances, we talked about it on the offensive side of the ball with Breeze. Perhaps there may be a player or two of veterans that, we have high expectations for, that may have a deteriorating skill set. It still remains to be seen. It's still very early, but again, a good hard look at the all-22 associated with the Saints could really illuminate what's going on either side of the ball in terms of their struggles.
So let me, because you just brought up a good point. So you talk about the different players that they have, where they got Jackrabbit. They got him. I think it was later last year in the season. He was I don't know if he wasn't traded. I think he was released and they picked him up.
Yeah, I think so.
Free agent. And then, you talk about Marshawn Lattimore, you talk about Jenkins, and you're thinking, okay, I have these players, and they have a particular set of skills, and there's things that they can do. So now maybe I'm going to adjust my defense to what I really want to do, what I haven't been able to do, because one of the biggest things that's been, hampering the Saints' defense, even when they were good, was they didn't have that other corner.
Sure.
So now, and we didn't have that. We didn't have a Malcolm Jenkins on the back end. Well, if we have a diminishing, skill set in a Malcolm Jenkins, we'll take a look. But
sure,
if that's happening and you've adjusted your defense to a particular way because you're thinking you're getting the Malcolm Jenkins of the Eagles, and the Jackrabbit of the Giants, or the guy who can make plays, but those things kind of come every so often.
Right.
You're kind of leaving yourself out there to kind of, and then you throw in no pass rush, then you throw in the penalties, then you you're just sitting there kind of like Cam Jordan. Are you on the back of the milk carton? Where are you? No Marcus Davenport. Now you're kind of looking like, damn, do we need to go back to what we were before? But now you're paying these guys, this money, and now they're not kind of doing what they should be getting paid to do, which is you kind of, all right, maybe we got to go back to what we were before. Right. Malcolm Jenkins, maybe you don't need to be covering the tight end every play, every other play. Maybe we don't need to bring you down in the box. Maybe it's just we just go back to what we were before. And, I don't know, but
maybe there needs to be some obviously there needs to be some self-assessment, some self-scouting there, but maybe we need more Gardner Johnson on the tight end position. Maybe you know what I'm saying. I don't know what the fix is. But this team on paper, and again, on paper doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? You are what your record says you are a lot of the times. These guys aren't playing at a high enough level. Based on what we've seen in the past from some of these players, they're clearly not playing at a high enough level. Is it schematic? Is it guys just having a rough go of it? Is it a lack of technique? That is what the coach is going to have to work out. The coaches are going to have to put their minds together, and the players are going to have to be honest with themselves in terms of, what it is that they need to improve upon, whether it be eye discipline, whether it be tackling, whether it be, like I said, any gamut of things that could be contributing to their struggles. And of course, the penalties, like I just want to reiterate that the penalties don't always come down to a lack of discipline necessarily. You know, pre-snap penalties do. That's concentration. Sometimes when you get away from your technique, which can be related to concentration, that also generates penalties. That creates the holding. That creates the, you know, the penalty where you just get beat. You know, whether it be a pass interference or defensive holding. You understand what I'm saying? That technique often leads to that. It's not always just that the guy opposite you was just that much more physically better. Because again, there was no Davante Adams in this game. You know, it wasn't as if Aaron Jones was just gashing them. You know what I mean? And the Green Bay offensive line was mauling folks. They did an excellent job in pass pro. But you understand what I'm saying? It's just one of those situations where there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks for a team that, you know, I certainly had high expectations for, and I'm sure, you know, many around the country certainly did. Let's talk about some individual performances. We alluded to Alvin Kamara, and you know, there was really good Alvin Kamara, and there was some really bad tackling from Green Bay. Yeah. At the end of the day, Kamara is, as advertised, again, we mentioned it before, it's just fun seeing him healthy and having that contact balance and getting the touches. I believe he had, what was it, 15, 16 targets in this game, 13 targets, something along that line. That's an inordinate amount of targets, and I love it because he is on my fantasy team, so I'll take that as well. But who else stood out to you in this particular game?
I'm just gonna call his name because I dropped him in a couple of leagues. Emmanuel Sanders. There was Emmanuel Sanders sighting. Brees found him in the back of the end zone. I think he had another pass where it was caught short. I don't know, Brees' arm. I don't know what's going on there. You can talk Aaron Jones. You said Mercedes Lewis. Both tight ends.
Tanyan. Mm-hmm.
Tanyan, yeah. And Alan Lazard, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like we mentioned it earlier. I think Lazard, you know, really has earned the trust, respect of Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? And he's making plays on a weekly basis now. And I think MVS as a third option along the perimeter is much better suited for that type of role as opposed to the number 2. So, you know, the Packers clearly they understood that they had something. I still think Green Bay could stand to have a little bit more explosiveness, a little bit more speed. I don't think you can ever have enough. But this offense is really clicking. It's really clicking right now, and the demise of Aaron Rodgers was certainly premature for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I thought that, you know, typically when you have that type of an adjustment in terms of your offensive system, and that was a stark change than what he was accustomed to, right? Some of the freedoms that he had, and just the nature of the offensive philosophy changing dramatically, quite frankly. Yeah, there was going to be some bumps in the road. But now, given the balance that they have and the fact that Aaron Rodgers, you know, they decided to, I guess they motivated him with the Jordan Love draft selection. You know, he's kind of, you know, got the swag back, got the chip on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Feeling like he might have something to prove. I don't necessarily agree with that, but as long as he feels that way, we're going to see excellent quarterback play from 12. So, yeah, I think all the guys that you mentioned really did have excellent games. I want to point out one particular player that I think the nation at large, the populace at large will continue to hear his name more and more, and that's going to be Jair Alexander, the young corner from Green Bay. Yeah. You know, just in general, I'm not talking about necessarily this particular contest. I think he is emerging as a star at the cornerback position, at the defensive back position. I think he can play inside, outside. He can help, you know, in terms of run support. He's willing to tackle. He's an effective blitzer. I think this is a guy that's going to continue to grow in notoriety. And I think this is the year that he kind of takes that leap in terms of, you know, upper echelon corner in the NFL. He's already one of the better younger players in the league, but certainly I think, you know, on a grand scale, I think his coming out party is in 2020.
Ooh. Would you put him above Marshawn Lattimore since we're talking about the Saints? You there yet?
I'm not in love with what I see from Lattimore, man. Like, I know how talented he is. You know, I know he has the tools, man. But there seems to be lapses. There seems to be too many lapses in terms of his technique and concentration. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like the receivers stack him too frequently. To have all that fluidity, to have all that ability, you know, it's one thing that the receiver makes a play on the ball, right? You know, he just, 50-50 goes up and he comes down with it, whatever the case may be. That happens. But some of these receivers shouldn't be creating that much separation from Marshawn Lattimore. And I do expect him to right the ship. But it's just been odd seeing him be solid as opposed to great. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our recap of the Green Bay Packers New Orleans Saints Sunday night football game. The Packers, obviously, they came out on top. They moved to 3-0, whereas the New Orleans Saints go to 1-2 and are searching for answers. For Drew, this is Drew signing off.